What's going on, everyone? The SPY made a new all-time high today. The Nasdaq made a new all-time high today. And the IWM was the biggest winner today at 1.41%. It helped bring the SPY up to a new all-time high. I'm going to go over the three indices. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin and how it's trading within this range and how it needs to break out, what it needs to do. We're going to go into detail about the crypto markets, all of the indices, as well as all of the technical analysis on stocks you guys wanted me to do. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, first of all, we gapped up on the SPY, and then we ended up making a new all-time high. All right, so we have a gap from 424.05 to the lows of today, which is 424.62. So that's approximately a 50-cent gap. But now we did cross above the level that I said we needed to cross above in yesterday's video, which was this trend line here. Okay, so now this trend line is going to be main support for the SPY. So for tomorrow, approximately that trend line support is going to be at 424. All right, 424 needs to hold on the SPY. As we can see, the SPY, the MACD crossed above here. This is a bullish crossover, right? And the fact that we had a bullish crossover with a gap up, it's, correlated to the strength I've been saying we've had all throughout these past few days. Okay, so now we need to see if we can continue on higher for another day or two, and then either create support above 425, or now that we've made such a strong move and the MACD has crossed above, if we do have one more green day and we end up going to approximately 426 to 426.50 potentially tomorrow, that might be unlikely, but what I do think is most likely going to happen now is the SPY is going to consolidate just a bit above these trend lines here, and hopefully it stays above 422.82 as well. Consolidate just a bit, and this is after the MACD goes a little bit higher first, but it needs to consolidate because we had a huge move up recently, and then that would help it to continue on higher. Okay, but the level of support that needs to hold for tomorrow in the short term is 424. Obviously the resistance is the prior all-time high. So yeah, there's that on the SPY. What's going on the Nasdaq is we clearly made a new all-time high as well. Very good news. Huge move on the entire, on Tesla, lots of different tech stocks had a very good green move today. We can see that the MACD also, crossed above bullishly, similarly to the SPY, and it correlated into a new all-time high, which is good. All right, we're clearly in an uptrend. Things are looking good for the Qs, but we are now trading at the upper level of the B band. So that is something to take into consideration. We might stagnate a bit. So if we do stagnate just a bit, that could mean that the SPY also needs to, have a little bit of a consolidation. But if the Qs can remain and continue on bullish or stay, consolidating around these prices, the IWM still has a lot more room to go on higher. And if the IWM continues to go on higher, then that would help continue to push up the SPY, okay? Which would be very, very good for the SPY, okay? So obviously the Nasdaq has been skyrocketing the past few weeks, and then the SPY has been following the Nasdaq, okay? But now, since the IWM took charge today, right, will the IWM now start leading the SPY? We see that, we crossed above 228.08. We made support. We bounced off of that support here. It correlated also along the 20 exponential moving average today, and that held, and we continued on higher. We crossed above 230, which I said was clear resistance. Crossed above that, boom, made a lot of money. All right, so now it seems like we are beginning to break out of a bull flag on the IWM. There is the bull flag for the IWM, okay? And to get an upward target for bull flags, you take the length of the flagpole and you take it to the lower edge of the flag to get a conservative target, and you basically drag it out to see where we would potentially go, and it correlates to exactly what I've been saying this entire time, to approximately 240 at least. So I said 245 to 250, but it would potentially bring us to at least 240 if we continue on higher and we continue breaking it. Okay, so as you can see, we did creep above on the IWM out of this bull flag. All right, the level of support in the near term that needs to hold for the IWM for tomorrow is going to be 231.32. All right, we're going to continue monitoring this level right here to see if there is a correlation. So through 231.32 needs to hold for tomorrow. If we can continue on higher, then, you know, the key level that needs to break on the IWM is 234.55. That's what needs to break. The IWM still has a lot more room to go. We have not yet even crossed above yet. Okay, so on the SPY and the Qs, you could remember that the MACD crossed above on both, right? But with the IWM, we still have yet to cross above. So when that happens, that's a good sign that we can continue on higher. Okay, so now what I do think is going to happen on the IWM, we need to monitor, is we will cross above, right? So we'll have another green day. Okay, we'll have another green day at least. So then what will happen after that is either we're going to retest the breakout point of where we broke out from, which is approximately 231.59. So we'll continue on higher. Okay, we'll either retest back to this level, or we'll end up retesting back to the upper level of this flag. Okay, so there's two levels that could end up being support for the IWM. So we just have to continue watching it. Overall, very bullish. We still have yet to cross above. We crept outside of the upper level of a huge bull flag that we've been creating on the IWM. So just overall, very, very bullish. Lots of lines, but super bullish. So yeah, the IWM can help bring the SPY into new all-time highs and potentially allow the Nasdaq to, you know, take a little bit of a break. And yeah, there's that on the three main indices. I guess we could look at the RUT. Yeah, look at the huge green move. I was showing that the RUT had a resistance yesterday at 2304, and this morning we opened exactly on it and continued on higher. So that was literally textbook perfect, clean. The NDX looks normal, and the SPX obviously made a new all-time high on the SPX. So yeah, that's great. Let's go into the dollar now. So the dollar, like I've been saying, you know, it needed to consolidate, hold support around 91.6, and then the next level of support would be 91.37. This could potentially be a bull flag on the dollar as well. So we need to see if it can sustain itself above this level. We can see that the MACD is now oversold, which is a bullish sign for the dollar, which isn't, you know, necessarily a good thing for the rest of the stock market. But we were extremely overbought a few days ago. We took a few days of consolidation. We held above support. Okay, we held above support, took a few days of consolidation. We worked off of this overbought level beautifully. And now we need to see if the dollar is going to continue on higher. And if it continues on higher, it might not be a very good sign for the rest of the market. So yeah, let's just continue watching the dollar above this level. Yeah, so crude oil, crude oil just continues going on higher. We are still bullish on the entire market as long as crude oil does not tank. So yeah, overall crude oil looks good as well. All right, and that should be it for the overall market. Let's look at the crypto markets now. All right, Bitcoin. Very clearly, I was saying that the level that I needed to break was this trend line for today at approximately 35,100. We're still having trouble here. So this is clearly still resistance that needs to be overtaken on Bitcoin. But the most alarming thing that I want you to see is that we were okay. So So now we were oversold. All right, look at the MACD where we're extremely oversold right here, right? You see the blue line is much lower than the yellow line. So that can potentially mean, hey, you know, we're going to cross above into new highs. All right. So when you look at the SPY, you know, the blue line was extremely lower than the yellow line. We were at support. So look at the SPY. At support, extremely oversold outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band, which is another very extreme to the downside. So usually when we have these extremes, we jolt back up. All right. So there were many reasons to be bullish on the SPY down here. All right. And I was saying that I was trying to tell you guys to remain bullish as well. You know, I was saying we were going to bounce at support, blah, blah, blah. The MACD was very oversold. And what happened was we bounced through resistance while the MACD was still oversold. We bounced through 1, 2, 3, and 4 different levels of resistance on the SPY. Very strong levels. All before we crossed above in a MACD crossover. Okay? That was the SPY. But what's happening on Bitcoin is we're still having trouble crossing above 35. Okay, so 35 is the key level that needs to break and close above on Bitcoin. So we need to have a daily chart, a daily candle close above this trend line here. So that's why in yesterday's video I said that Bitcoin needs to cross above 35 and close within 2 days. Okay, because tomorrow the MACD crossover will happen on Bitcoin, I think. Okay, and if we do cross above right here, right, whatever, if the blue line crosses above the yellow line and we have a bullish crossover, but we don't cross above this trend line, that is a very, very dangerous and bearish scenario to have on Bitcoin. All right, because if you just look at the SPY, it would be a perfect example. We did have a MACD crossover, but this was after we crossed a bunch of different resistance points, and then we ended up making a new high because of this MACD crossover. So now on Bitcoin, you know, I just want to stress this. If we have the MACD crossover, yet we can't cross above these levels of resistances at 35 and then at 36,500, that would be very, very bad. Okay? So I just want to keep on stressing that and just explain to you the power of the MACD alongside these resistance levels and everything like that. Okay? So, you know, it's still a good sign. You know, we had a very green day, whatever. The level of support that needs to hold for tomorrow is going to be 33,186. And then, you know, the level of resistance obviously needs to close above 35,200. But yeah, there's that on Bitcoin. Literally, if Bitcoin does not do this in the next 2 days, either today and then tomorrow, then it's going to be very, very bad. But yeah, hopefully it does cross above and we continue on with the bull cycle. Otherwise, this is a bear flag. Okay, and this little downtick here to 28.5 was just a, you know, just a preview of what's to come, because then we can end up retesting it and breaking down into 26 or 27. It all depends on this trend line and how we're working off of the MACD, but we're currently working off of it in a very, very bearish, terrible way. If this was a SPY, right, we were extremely oversold on the MACD. What ended up happening on the SPY is the equivalent would have been, we would have crossed over this, we would be above this level already, and the MACD would still be looking like this. Okay, and then for tomorrow we would be talking about, oh, are we going to retest these levels here at, like, are we going to retest 38,000, 39,000? But that's not where Bitcoin is. So that is currently it's bearish, unless, as you know, unless we cross above that. So there's that for Bitcoin. Ethereum made a nice little reversal as well. You know, obviously is alongside Bitcoin. So yeah, I mean, like, it needs to, two main levels of resistance on Ethereum are going to be 2316 and 2341. Those are always going to be the levels to be watching for Ethereum. If you're below that, then it's bearish. If you're above that, then you're bullish currently. Okay? Until we cross above that, then we're not going to become bullish again on Ethereum. All right? And especially not if Bitcoin doesn't cross and hold above 35 and then 36.5. Okay? But yeah, that's really about it. Everything else is going to look somewhat the same, essentially, in the crypto markets. So yeah, now we're just gonna go over the stocks you guys wanted me to do technical analysis on. Thank God it's only 15 minutes and 30 seconds into the video. It's not gonna be like a 3-hour long video this time. All right, starting with Apple. Apple still clearly in this uptrend. The Nasdaq had it was just stagnated a bit today, and that's kind of basically what happened with Apple as well. We traded back down to this trend line, this clear uptrend. The support level for tomorrow is going to be 133.39. And then obviously, the resistance for Apple is going to be today's high at 134.64. All right. So there's that on Apple. Tesla. So Tesla, we opened and closed outside of the upper level of the B band. All right. So that is not a very bullish sign. That means that we're very, very overextended. Okay? And because we're this overextended, I think yesterday I said that, look, like we might have one more day. So yesterday I said that we would have a day where we opened up higher, but then we would fall back inside the B band. I was wrong about us falling back inside the B band, but, we did open up much higher. And now I guess the B band is going to average back up, and it'll bring itself back up. But then Tesla, what really needs to break on Tesla is currently, just purely right now, it would be 682. Once 682 breaks, then 686 would need to break on Tesla. And then the key level of resistance for it to really, really send would be this level right here, the 618 level at 691.50. All right. But as you can see, we're very, very overextended. Unless there's some sort of news that helps bring this up, this is not a bullish setup. There's no reason for people to buy into this, hoping that it will continue on higher. This is overextended, mathematically extremely overextended. We're outside of the upper level of the standard deviation away from the 20 exponential moving average, which is how this Bollinger Band is calculated. And that is not a bullish sign, okay? So yeah, just be careful on Tesla. You could also see that the MACD is extremely overbought as well. So yeah, there's many different bearish signs for Tesla. Obviously, it looks great right now, but will it continue is the question. And the odds and the chances of it continuing are statistically much lower because of various different factors, okay? On Tesla. Gold, garbage. Gold is just garbage, manipulated garbage. It's working off of the oversold in a very, very bearish way, right? So as you can see, the SPY, it would have worked off of the oversold in a very bullish way, as you can see, whatever. But gold, it barely bounced. But we worked off of the entire oversold and barely bounced. So that is very bearish. Same exact thing for silver. Not even worth really looking at. Okay, so Wish, we had an uptrend. All right. And today we crossed right back above that uptrend. Oh, my mouth. All right, cool. Okay, so tomorrow, the level of... Oh, wow. Okay, so they brought it up literally to this level in the post market on TradingView, it shows. So the level of that it needs to either remain or hold is going to be 1470. Okay, so 1470 is this uptrend line. We need to hold above that level for us to continue on higher on Wish. Okay, if not, then the level of support that needs to hold is going to be approximately 1350. Okay, but Wish overall, it looks, it's about to become overbought on the RSI. So you need to be careful about that. Also, it had a huge candle here with a high of $15. So 1470 would need to hold. And then obviously the next resistance is going to be $15. But we are, very overextended now. But, clear uptrend. As long as 1350 holds, then we are, short-term bullish on Wish. AHT, really, really beautiful reversal. All right, really, really beautiful reversal. Crossed above 489 as well. Very oversold on the MACD. The RSI bounced as well. Very, very bullish. This is very, very nice and a bullish setup here. The level of resistance that needs to break for for AHT to continue on is going to be 527. All right, if 527 continues on, then this looks very, very good for a potential to cross back up into $6 for AHT. HIPA, obviously HIPA looks really good and it has been trading very, very well. You can see today it retested 229. But 230 is still going to be resistance. Look at how beautiful this looks. Just look at how beautiful this looks. This is a bull flag. We're retesting the highs on the upper level of this bull flag, but the MACD is still very, very oversold. So when this happens, there is a good chance that because there is still so much fuel and momentum to bring this up and cross above, there is a very good chance that we will continue on higher on HIPA. And that's what it looks like currently. Okay. So, the levels that need to hold are 212 in the short term, but it looks very, very bullish to me currently, HIPA. ARK. So ARK had an uptrend, right? It had multiple levels of resistance, right? Ranging back from May 10th. We had multiple touches, 1, 2, and then 3, right? We were having trouble. But now we're trading above that level, which is good. But then again, you have to realize that we're trading outside of the upper level of the B band. And obviously, ARK has a lot of Tesla. And that's why the chart looks very similar currently to Tesla's chart. But for ARK, the level that it needs to hold for tomorrow is going to be 124.43. Okay? 124.43 needs to hold on ARK as support. But you can see that it's getting overbought on the resistance, on the RSI, and the MACD is overbought as well. So if 124 doesn't hold, 124.43 doesn't hold, then the level of support that would need to hold is 121.90. So yeah, those are the two levels of support. Otherwise, ARK can, what's most likely going to end up happening is we're going to consolidate. We're going to break down below these levels of support a bit, and we're most likely going to come back to a horizontal support at approximately 121. Okay, so we'll probably that's probably what's going to end up happening on this and the rest of the markets that are extremely overextended. We're going to come back down to horizontal levels of support. Okay, but yeah, those are the short-term levels on ARK. Obviously, the levels of resistance, if we cross above, are going to be, these levels back here. Obviously, today's high, and then, 128 and onward. But yeah, there's that on ARK. JD, you can see that JD, there's a downtrend line here on JD that needs to break, but we are also in a short-term uptrend. The MACD is very overbought, which is bearish. The RSI is, not really worth mentioning currently. The level of resistance that needs to break for tomorrow on JD is going to be approximately 75.45. Okay, we need to cross above that level, but the fact that the MACD is overbought is not bullish. Okay, so yeah, the chances of us breaking that and holding above is slim. So what might end up happening is, we might retest back down to this level here and then cross back up. But the closest level of support that we need to hold is 73.50. 73.50 would need to hold. It's also in correlation to the 20 exponential moving average, which is this line here. You could just look at it right up here. It's 73.45. Okay, so those are the support and resistance levels on JD. Overall, I don't think that this will continue, but if it does, then I mean I'm wrong. But those are the levels. If we cross above that, then you know that's good. But yeah, there's that on JD. Starbucks, very similar to JD. It failed at two different downtrend lines. So there was one here that closed right at the level, and then there was one here that failed on the wick perfectly. So Starbucks is clearly having lots of trouble at multiple levels of resistance. The MACD is now overbought as well, which means that there's less fuel for it to cross above resistance. Similarly, you know, the SPY, whereas the SPY, you know, crossed above multiple levels of resistance, Starbucks is having trouble doing so out of the oversold. Okay, so yeah, the level of resistance that we need to break is obviously yesterday's high, or sorry, today's high, which is 112.91. But again, it's this trend line here. So tomorrow it needs to stay above 111.88. If it can't stay above 111.88, then it can fall back down to potentially 111. So yeah, just be careful on Starbucks. ICPT. Oh, sorry. Yeah, ICPT looks very, very bullish. Very similar to HIPA. You can see it's a bull flag, right? Oversold, right? ICPT, bull flag, oversold. Retesting at resistance. Okay? So ICPT looks very, very bullish as well. It needs to cross above these levels of resistance, but as long as it holds above $20, ICPT can continue on higher as well. But the level that needs to break is going to be $22 and then $22.50. That's it. Overall, ICPT looks very, very bullish as well. Very similar to HIPA. And yeah, we're oversold on the MACD. The RSI still has a room to go to become overbought. Overall, this looks very, very bullish for ICPT as well. SOS, someone needs to send out an SOS for SOS. All right, like the MACD, it's oversold, which is, you know, a good sign for a potential bounce. But if it crosses below $2, or sorry, if it crosses below $3, then this trend line here would essentially become invalidated. And that would be very, very bearish. I was talking about SOS back when it was trading at $4 back here. Those were the two level of resistance that I had on SOS. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't look, I mean, in the short term, hypothetically, if you're not holding any SOS shares, okay, so we are extremely oversold, right? The next level of resistance that we need to touch would be 360. That would be the next target to the upside. If we can break above 360, then we would come back to 393. And then from 393, then we would be retesting these levels of resistance. Okay? But now the levels of support are going to be 330. And then down here at 310. All right? 330, 310. And then, you know, obviously, if it really collapses, it would be $3. So those are the levels of resistance and support on SOS. Honestly, just, you know, just have to take it one day at a time, especially for a stock that's been getting beaten down for quite some time now. It's not bullish. So you have to look at things with a bearish lens. But yeah, we have to see how it responds and works off of this oversold. If it works off of this oversold and it doesn't cross above 370, then that is very, very bearish, and it can fall back down and it'll probably break this trend line. Okay? So just keep your eyes on the MACD, on SOS. Plug, overbought on the MACD, failed at resistance. We're turning down on the RSI. So obviously the level of resistance is going to be this, you know, multiple times we failed at this level here. So it's approximately 34.30, right? 34.25, right? This level right here. The level that needs to hold on as support is going to be 32.50. And yeah, I mean, overall, it doesn't look super bullish because we are already overbought. Okay, we're overbought on the MACD already. If we were oversold on the MACD, then it would mean, hey, you know, we have room to go on higher. But the fact that we're overbought already, this is a bearish sign. So we failed that resistance, overbought on the MACD, not a good sign. So what needs to happen here for plug to cross above this level is either overnight positive news, or we need to consolidate a bit and give time for the MACD to cool off. Once the MACD cools off just a little bit and becomes oversold again, and it crosses down below this yellow line and becomes oversold again, while plug holds support. Okay, so it needs to consolidate a bit while remaining in a bullish pattern. Then that would give room for plug to continue on higher. Okay, but currently it looks bearish for those reasons, but it needs to consolidate. If we can consolidate, then that would be great. URNM. Okay, so I said yesterday it needs to cross above 63.16. If it crosses above 63.16, I said that it would definitely, high chance that it would touch a 38.2% fib level at 64.71, which is exactly what happened. We ended up closing above it. So now, if we can continue on higher, most likely what will end up happening is we're going to touch 65.96, which is the 50% fib level. And I told you guys I like to do that with a huge red move. What usually ends up happening is we do touch this 38.2% fib level, and that's exactly what happened on URNM. The MACD still has yet to cross above, which is still very bullish. So tomorrow we still could have a very green day potentially, depending on the rest of the market. So if the rest of the market is green, then URNM has a good chance of crossing above 65 and touching, you know, 66. So yeah, especially because the MACD still needs to cross above. All right. So overall, looks very, very bullish. But yeah, ATOS clearly had a very, very green day today. Big mover. But we can see that it's very overbought on the RSI and very, very overbought on the MACD now. So yesterday we were looking at it, and you know, we were looking at how I was saying that it was going to end up, you know, potentially crossing up even higher, but now we closed outside of the upper level of the B band. So, I mean, the level of resistance that you have to watch is going to be 730. 730 is the level of support. Sorry. And what will end up most likely happening is we're going to consolidate a bit, and as long as we remain above the 28.2%, the 28% fib, 38% fib, or the 50% fib level, right? Sorry, the 23.6% fib level, or the 38.2% fib level. As long as we hold above those two levels on ATOS and give room for it to, you know, cool off the MACD, then we can end up crossing even higher on ATOS. But currently, we're starting to become really, really overextended. I'm not sure about any news on ATOS, so I'm not sure, you know, why this move is happening. But yeah, technically, we're starting to become very overextended. Yeah, you can see what happens when we do fall outside of the upper level of the B band in the past. We get very overextended, and then we fall back inside. Get very extended, and we consistently fell back inside of the B band. All right, so that's what may end up happening on ATOS as well. So just be wary and careful about that. 730 is support. CLSN, it bounced off of support. It's holding support pretty nicely above 117 and 121, right? But it's working off of the oversold MACD in a poor way, similarly to SOS. So, you know, look, so very similar. So we bounced off of this, we held above the support, but we're working off of the oversold in a way where it doesn't look like we're going to cross above these levels. So for CLSN, we need to cross above 130 soon. All right, we're already curling up, but we haven't yet crossed any resistance levels. You can still see this 20 exponential moving average is acting as clear resistance for the past few days. All right, so we need to cross above 130 before this crosses up in a bullish way, and then after that 135 is going to be the next level of resistance for CLSN. Support, obviously 121 and then 117. But yeah, if we do cross above 135, then these levels here, 140, 150, are possible for CLSN. And of course, AMC, I mean, it's going to go to the moon regardless, but it needs to cross above the 23.6% fib level at 58.29. If we get a close above this level, I mean, this is just clearly, it's just the current level of resistance, okay? We need to cross above this level. The support, I mean, it's going to the moon. You don't really need to think about support. Just kidding. But I just drew this trend line here as well. For tomorrow, the level of support would be approximately 55. So 55 would be support. 58.29 is resistance. The next level of support after that is going to be this low at 51. And then it would be the 38.2% fib level at 49.47. All right, so there's that on AMC. We are very oversold on the MACD, which is very bullish. It means that there's a lot more room to the upside. And the RSI is not overbought, which is also bullish, okay? So we have, multiple bullish situations for AMC, but this level really needs to break first. And yeah, it's just a matter of how much, the average person can stomach. Because this is literally it. It's just a matter of, it's just social. It's just people against hedge funds here. So yeah, diamond hands, baby. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If there's anything else I can do that you guys will enjoy, please let me know. But yeah, have an amazing day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not your financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Blah, blah, blah.